Boys, good morning. Welcome back to Operation Mass. It is week 8 and it is Wednesday. It is our deload week of the program. So I am going to take you through a little bit of a chest workout push day with a deload style. So weight wise, we're dropping weight by about 10 to 20%, focusing more on the movement pattern, slowing down the negative, really making sure we're pausing in the hole and using the target muscle to drive out of that hole, contract, just improve form, and then we'll work back up. We won't jump back up to the previous weight from last week. We'll stay at that 10 to 20% weight reduction and continue to progressive overload with better form, and then we'll eventually in 2-3 weeks time pass that weight again, continue working up with better form until we hit that kind of sticking point, that wall, and we'll deload again probably another 2 months, 3 months, something like that. So we're also pulling back on volume a little bit. We're cutting sets down from 3 sets to 2 sets, and if there's 2 sets, it's down to 1 set unless it's calves or abs. Those will stay the same. Once we kick back up with full intensity, the volume will stay down, and we'll titrate it up with certain body parts and certain spots where we feel it's needed. With that said, I'm going to train after 1 meal today. So pre-workout meal, same as always: chicken, rice, dates, and almond butter. We have a 25-pound bag of jasmine rice. We'll throw that in there. I found the perfect water ratio is 1 gram of rice times 1.53. 1.5 doesn't quite do it. 1.55, a little too moist. So 1.53 is perfect spot for me. I am having some coffee here. 12 ounces of coffee. It is the white chocolate. Look at this shit, dude. White chocolate, bones, Easter, festive. And then I have 7 grams of a 0 sugar coffee mate creamer. So I weigh out my coffee, I weigh out my creamer. We're gonna get this rice cooked up while I have my coffee and try to get down the first 1.5 liters of water. Still drinking about 7 to 7.5 liters a day. I'm gonna take my SS31, which I take fasted. We're going to knock out some work here. And then this is also the morning drink that has 4 ounces of aloe vera, inner filet, the 20 grams of glutamine, the half teaspoon of IP6, and the electrolytes. I am a sweaty sleeper at night. Even though the house stays at 67, I like to burrow myself and I sweat. So definitely hydration powder when I wake up is key. I'm gonna get this rice set and just stay consistent with whatever you're doing with your rice, especially in prep. I mean, it matters year round. I measure it in the off season just to keep it consistent as well. But if you're not measuring the water to rice ratio, then you're not measuring the amount of dry weight rice that you're consuming every day or every 3 days, or how often you make rice is going to vary. So your carb amount is going to have some type of variance, even if you're extremely consistent with how you cook it, if you're not weighing it. So I definitely recommend, I'm not saying you have to calculate the dry weight rice to the cooked weight and then divide that and then divvy it up that way. I know some coaches make their guys weigh their rice raw, but if you just keep it consistent, I think that's what's most important. So for me, I have 1 training day today, 1 rest day tomorrow. I make rice for 2 days. After that, it starts to accumulate slight pores and mold that you cannot see. Rice accumulates mold faster than any other food does in the fridge. So 2 days is my max on rice. If I was training back-to-back days, the amount of rice I would be cooking right now would be a little bit more. Since tomorrow is a rest day, my rice amount gets decreased a good amount. I'm going to cook 700 grams of dry weight rice. 708, and then I will multiply that by 1.53 to get the amount of water in there. Obviously, first I'll rinse it, get all that starch and dirt out of it, and then once it runs clear, get the amount of water in there, and start that sucker. I'll have meal one and take a little pre, and I'm gonna go crush a push. Getting caffeine from the coffee, so pre today will probably just be the stim-free Bloodshot by Hostile. I'll do my normal intra workout that has 2 scoops of the Silo 9 EAAs, 10 grams of creatine, 10 grams of glutamine, 3 grams of taurine in another 1.5 liters of water. We'll have that 8 ounces of chicken, 330 rice, 20 grams of almond butter, 40 grams of dates, 3/4 teaspoon pink salt, and then I will have our post-workout, which is 50 grams of protein from whey isolate. Turns out to be 61 or 62 grams of whey based on which protein I use, and then 100 grams of carbs from Carbolin, which is just your rice and potato powder. So I'll see you maybe for the pre-workout meal, but probably in the gym. All right, boys, we are back from the gym. Chest is done. I had my post-workout shake, 100 grams of carbs from Carbolin, 50 grams of protein from Whey Isolate. Now on to meal 3. This is meal 1 generally. If I'm training after 2 or 3 meals, this is my breakfast, but trained after 1. So it's meal 3 today. This is my biggest, most high-calorie meal. It's about 70 grams of protein, we're a little over 140 grams of carbs, and just over 20 grams of fat. So for our protein sources, we have the double pasteurized organic liquid egg whites, 350 grams of those. We got our organic pasture raised whole eggs. We do 4 whole eggs. In the egg white omelet, I do a handful of organic spinach, 1 mini bell pepper, and then for our carbs, it's cream of rice. We're gonna go with the cookies and cream today. 165 grams of cream of rice. And then in the freezer still, I got 100 grams of blueberries. I'll talk about the lift a little bit as I kind of get this stuff ready, start heating up the pan and such. So it definitely was a hit on the ego, a little bit on the deload. You know, dumbbell bench, for example, we've been running, you know, I think last week I ran 115 pound dumbbells, and then the back off was hundreds or 105s. Today I did 80s. Super slow and controlled. That was one of the only sets that the GoPro didn't record. I didn't record any of the triceps, but I got the shoulders and chest besides the dumbbell bench. Drop down by a full plate on hammer strength. And again, we're really just trying to focus on the mind-muscle connection. 1 to 2 reps in reserve, nothing to failure. Just kind of resetting some of these sticking points and some of these exercises, some of these lifts, and allowing the body to recover a little bit more. Overall, it's a solid pump. Woke up at 228.8, 228.6 this morning, something like that. And I'm feeling pretty decent, you know, getting over the fatigue a little bit. Hunger's down a little bit as well, but still able to put down all the meals, you know, without really any issues. Calories on these training days are just over 4,600. Rest days are just over 3,600. We're able to put this away pretty well. And so tomorrow's going to be a rest day. I'll do 25 minutes of incline treadmill, and then I'll be back in the gym Friday doing pull A, and we are switching out one of the movements for this whole Operation Mass. I've been running the same movements. This is the first time I'm switching something out. We are switching out the rack pulls for stiff legs. So stiff leg deads are going to be put in. We got up to like 4 1/4 on the rack pull for like 10, 11 reps. It was just kind of getting to the point where it's like, okay, what are we gonna do? Just start loading up over 5 plates on this fucking rack pull, and you know, risk of injury might go up and stuff like that. So we're gonna go stiff leg deads, where it's gonna take a lot away from the ego. Legs are gonna be almost completely locked, and I'm still pulling with those erectors, lats, traps, everything's tight, core's tight. And I'll probably work at like 225 this week or something like that. So a little bit less stress on the CNS. Just really trying to, like I said, kind of reset these movement patterns, get a better mind-muscle connection, really just make sure form is as pure as it can be. Allow the body a little bit of recovery. You know, with SS31 coming in to help with the mitochondria health. I think we're in a pretty solid spot overall. For the rest of the day here, I will just be working and getting my meals in. I do have to meal prep some chicken breast. I do have to meal prep some 90-10 grass-fed, grass-finished ground sirloin from the butcher box. I got to meal prep green beans and sweet potato. So decent amount of meal prepping. Other than that, it's going to be bodybuilding podcasts. You know, we got the Arnold coming up this weekend. My coach Tommy has a client, Chris, competing in the Arnold Amateur, going for his pro card. And to be transparent, I think he has a pretty damn good shot of winning his pro card. So I might even be watching the Arnold Amateur tomorrow night, cheering on my quote-unquote teammate to try to turn pro. And then obviously Friday and Saturday, I get to see the big boys. I'm excited for Classic as well. I think it's a toss-up. It's going to be really tight there. You got a lot of guys coming in great condition. I do have Mike to beat Wesley. I have Andrew to beat Hottie. But a lot of this stuff is toss-up. I mean, these guys are some of the best in the world. You're talking about the most minute differences between each of these guys. In the end of the day, it's a subjective sport because there's human judges. So we'll see what happens. Regardless, it's going to be fucking exciting. I love bodybuilding. I don't think it's a better, more exciting time to be a part of the bodybuilding space either, with just the pure volume of new athletes coming in, the amount of talent. It's incredible. Around the world, you got guys from different countries coming out of the woodworks, and it's incredible. I think the level of competition is very, very good, if not the best it's ever been. But that's just my opinion. So appreciate you watching. Another day down. That's kind of some of the deload exercises. That's how it looks. Keeping, like I said, 1 to 2 reps in the tank. Really slow and controlled. Really just focusing on form. I wish I would have taken that dumbbell bench set, because that was the most extreme of the slow and controlled stretch flex. It's probably close to a 4 or 5 count negative. But I mean, I dropped a ton of weight. Like I said, it was 115s down to 80s. So, you know, to fail at 12 reps, I mean, I was just super, super slow, deep stretch, and making sure I'm initiating with the pec out of that hole. Same thing with the incline hammer strength. I'm here. Get to the point where I feel that stretch all across my pecs. In that first movement, I'm not bouncing, I'm not going front delt, I'm not going tricep. I keep my elbows tucked, and I'm making sure I'm squeezing the weight up with my chest. Decent pump, threw up a little posing video for you. God bless, keep following along. We'll get back to you at some point this weekend or Monday with an update on the plan heading into week 9. See if there's any changes. I kind of doubt it, with it still some deload workouts next week as well. I'm assuming food will kind of stay the same, supplementation stay the same. Then once we kind of get out of this deload period and start ramping up the weight and training intensity again, I think the food will ramp up as well. But God bless you. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.